That's what good turnout. That's you just never know, right? Yeah.
Good time.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
That's great.
Good evening, everyone. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for the invocation by Reverend K. Deacon of St. John's Episcopal Church. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we give thanks to you for all the blessings that you have provided for us, for the Thanksgiving holiday that we were able to spend with friends and family, for the things that we have, the hopes, the dreams, and all of the ways in which we, with our own strengths, can be able to achieve them through you. We thank you, Lord, for all that you give us. And we also ask, Lord, for your help to give us the strength to care for those who are in need, to be able to reach out, to hold on to those people who are lost, who find themselves in places that they don't want to be, and that the gifts that you have provided us will be able to help them be raised up. I pray also for the leaders of this township that you would give them wisdom, strength, and compassion to be able to look and care for the people under their charge, to remember their needs, to listen, and most of all, to continue to do the right things that they can do. I ask all these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon. This regular meeting of the Township Council being held in accordance with the schedules of meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council. Your schedule designates the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting is provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record. And request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. Recording devices to be so utilized by the Township Clerk's Office and shall be for the preparation of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchinson?
Present.
Ms. Graves? Here. Mrs. Albright Troxel? Here. Mrs. Walters? Here. Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mignon?
Here.
Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
Chief Harkins?
Here.
Mr. McGill?
Here. So now I have our public portion. First public portion, this is for agenda items only. Anyone addressing council may speak one time for 3 minutes. Once all those wishing to address council have had their turn, they may time limit adds to what was said earlier, not repeating earlier statements. Each speaker is entitled to 3 minutes or 15 minutes for the first public portion. Would anyone like to speak during the first public portion? Ms. Smith, followed by Mr. Sweet.
Hello, Council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex. I have a question for resolution 2311316. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let's see. Resolution 2311318. And I was asked by another person attending this meeting if everyone could speak clearly and close to the amplifying device provided.
So that is for the clubhouse at SDK Millbridge Apartments. That's what you're referring to?
That's what I'm referring to.
Yes. So that is it's called a Form F application. These type of resolutions used to come from the MUA when the MUA was operating. Now the MUA falls under us as a sewer department. So this is the application for discharge that's less than 8,000 gallons per day and where there's not a sewer extension permit that's required.
May I ask
So-
what?
May
I
I finish,
apologize.
please?
I
So this
apologize, I thought you were
project is
finished.
for a square foot, 7,450 square foot clubhouse addition.
May I ask why it was written with the address like that, but for resolution R 2311305, the refund from my Open Public Records Act request, receipt number 2388384, 238384, that's the receipt that I was given. My name was spelled incorrectly, but on the receipt, I noticed that the refund went to the address listed as Millbridge Road, even though I live on Millbrook Court, but I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex. Why wasn't the refund that I have not yet received? Today is Monday, November 27th, 2023. The time is approximately 7:35 p.m. I have not received this refund, and the address is written differently. Since I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex, and you're providing funds for something occupying the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex, why wasn't resolution 2311318 written this as Millbridge Road, the same as the receipt that that I've not yet received, but are intending to provide to me, Shaughnessy Smithman?
Okay, thank you for your comments. Okay, your time's about to expire. I'm going to respond to you. This is the legal address according to the permit, and also for the sewer authority, the sewer department for this particular application. So that's why that address is listed there. And your address, if you need to provide a different address, we'll provide a different address. But that refund has to be approved first tonight before that can be sent to you. If we need to change that address, you can provide your address to the clerk after the meeting. Thank you
No,
very
shouldn't
much.
it be done now?
We can change that address if we need to send it.
Well, before it's
Ms.
approved, hold on,
Ms. Smith,
excuse me,
I'm sorry your time is up.
but before it's
You can
approved,
Please take a seat, thank you. Please take a seat, Ms. Smith. Mr. Sweet?
Good evening, Council. Sam Sweet from Ariel.
Good evening.
My questions are regarding resolutions 319, 320, and 321. The addition of revenue items to the budget.
Okay.
I'd like to start with 320. That's pretty self-explanatory. That's the drunk driving enforcement grant. It's my understanding that we're going to add that to the revenue, but also from past, we increase our police presence to get that grant, and then that money just goes to pay the police officers in order to get that grant. Is that correct?
Chief?
Yes, or equipment in some cases when we need it, but in general, it goes towards paying salaries for extra patrol.
So it's a net zero on the budget, technically,
Yeah, that would be a
right,
question.
Mr. Curtis? Okay, with 321, there's a $149,000 law enforcement de-escalation grant. What's that? Like, what do we do to get that?
So we applied to the Department of Justice for a grant. We received a training simulator. We had a media event displaying it. You can find it on our social media. It is it's a training use of force de-escalation simulator. It's state of the art, trains our officers. Our officers are getting trained every day at our range facility.
So is that a net zero as well, Mr. Curtis? So you said it's de-escalation training?
Yes.
Videos or machine or
It's
both?
a machine. It's a complete technological 180-degree immersed operating system to train officers.
All right, and with regards to thank you for that answer, by the way.
For 319, we are getting a grant for $586,521 for the playground improvements, which is, we borrowed a bunch of money in the last 3 years for those playgrounds, which were put in this year. So where's this money now going to go to? Is this going to sit for playgrounds in 2024 to be used, or what's going to happen to this money?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Carter. So these are the two projects for Sturbridge Oaks and Mulberry Station. They're completed, that money goes back into capital.
So it's going to be on the cap, but it's not paying down the capital projects.
It goes to the capital.
It goes to the capital account. Could you please answer my question? Does it pay, it does not pay down the capital project itself because you've already permanently financed those projects, correct? So you're not paying them down, you're just going to have that money sitting in capital projects.
It could be conceivably canceled, and then it would go to offset debt service.
Okay, we cannot cancel permanently financed projects. We go back and forth on this all the time. You love to use the word cancel debt, and we can't cancel debt. As Christy Ered, who's not here, has said in the past, you cannot cancel debt.
Under the state of New Jersey Division of Local Government Services, by resolution before December 31st in any particular year, funded debt can be canceled.
But the
Permanently financed.
permanently financed debt can be canceled.
Yes.
But yet Christy Ered has said, no, it cannot be. And I've never heard of permanently financed debt being canceled. Being paid down, yes. Being canceled, no.
Thank you, Mr. Sweet.
You know, am I allowed to come back and no one else speaks?
If we don't have any others.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Smithman?
Good evening, council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court. Resolution R231130A. Yes, I've actually is this the same Kelly Driver Road that's located in Gloucester Township?
That is correct.
They're replacing the storm drains. It was just recently paved, correct? Within the past 6 months?
It has been repaved. This is stormwater piping replacement. Mr. McGill, you have to know what section that is on Kelly Driver? This is CES. CES is the project engineer on that project for stormwater management.
I believe it is the area past ShopRite going towards Blackwood Clemington Road, where the road curves around.
Okay.
And then going that.
All right, thank you. And for resolution R231130 will the clerk be providing on that receipt, that refund? Will they be providing the receipt number that is that it's receipt number 238384?
I don't know, I have to ask the clerk. Clerk,
Would you please ask the
will
clerk?
be providing the receipt number to Ms. Smith.
To her, she has her receipt.
No, for the refund. R231130 is a resolution authorizing the refunds from the Department of yourself, the township clerk.
Yes,
That
we have
correct?
all the information that we need for that.
Well, but I'm telling you, that I have 2 different ways that I'm told to write the address to my apartment. And since Gloucester Township is referring to the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex as 1341 Blackwood Clementon Road. But yet they wrote on the refund Millbridge Road for myself. So the clubhouse was written differently. Either make the clubhouse written as Millbridge Road or make my address on the refund provided as Blackwood Clementon Road, apartment 341.
This is how your address comes up in our system.
No, not according to the Gloucester Township Police Department. Within those Open Public Records Act, for any police report that was filed, I was told that the Gloucester Township Police only refers to the Millbridge Gardens apartment complex as 1341 Blackwood Clementon Road. Could you please change it to also provide the receipt number, which is 238384? Is that possible?
Can we do that, Ms. Beth?
We can.
Thank you.
Yes, we can, thank you. Is there anyone else? Mr. Sweet?
Sam Sweet from Ariel. Going back to 319 with this grant. I'm assuming we applied for this grant this year?
As far as, I do not know when we.
How,
Jamie, if you have questions, you easily could email me in advance. I do not have the date that we applied for the grant.
ballpark it? Was it this year? Was it last year?
I don't know.
I would rather
I will
not
get back
ballpark
to
it, Mr. Sweet, and give you the
Some
definitive
things
answer.
never change.
Well, then, if it's on the agenda, why is he not prepared? Don't answer that. I'm not going down that road,
You are.
okay? My question is, whenever the grant was applied for, I know we can't recognize it as income until we actually receive it or it's recognizable. However, this council has proven time and time again that it's able to borrow money on short notice. So why wouldn't we borrow the money, short notice, not permanently finance these playgrounds? Because now we're, not only these two playgrounds that you said, we borrowed for them in 19 and 20. So now we're paying for them now. They were installed this year. So we borrowed that money, we paid 3 years worth of interest, and now we've permanently financed it. And now we're paying 10 years worth of interest. So that's going to be 13 years worth of interest on $586,000 at whatever the rate is. When we could have borrowed this money in March, short term, not paid as much interest, because as we all know, interest increases our debt service increases taxes. So I will again ask,
Yes, Mr. Carson. Did I say we permanently financed? I don't know.
you actually did.
I do not believe that permanently financed.
I believe it is.
It's still in the form of notes.
I believe it is permanently financed.
I will look
Okay.
into that and I can get back to you on that. Are you
But
suggesting that we should not have moved forward with the Sturbridge Oak?
No, absolutely. I'm not suggesting that we should not have moved forward with it. What I'm suggesting is we should not have borrowed for it in 19 and 20 and let it sit for 3 years.
We did not know we were getting
Okay,
a grant.
but we still,
And we did it under capital so that it could be completed.
he's taking my
for
time.
those residents to be able. to-
I didn't ask a question. I asked council a question.
Mr. Sweet, hold on, he's trying to respond to you, Mr. Sweet.
You gotta argue.
And if you're gonna ask questions and you want answers from us, there's gonna be a response.
Well, actually, I hadn't asked my question yet.
Okay, but Mr. Sweet, we could just sit here in 3 minutes and just let you talk and then comment later on.
That's what he wants, let him know.
So please continue.
What I was trying to get at is we borrowed $586,000. I'm not trying to say we're not for playgrounds, so please don't put words in my mouth. I'm all for the playgrounds. What I'm against is borrowing it for 3 years, letting it sit for 3 years, and then getting it, regardless of whether we had the grant or not. All right, why can't we borrow it on short notice? And if the grant's there, great. If the grant's not there, then we can turn it into something else. All right, but we're borrowing for 3 years and letting it sit, and now we're permanently financing it for 10 years on these grants or these bonds. That's 13 years of a playground that we're paying off that we could have paid off in 1 year, in less than 1 year.
Thank you, Mr. Sweet, appreciate it. For that, we'll close the first public portion. Bid reports, Blue Jay Drive and Green Place drainage relief. I entertain a motion. Second, on the question, roll call please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Ms. Grace?
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel?
Yes.
Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. McConnell?
Yes. Next is an ordinance of first reading. There will not be a hearing for this. There'll be a hearing at the second reading. This is the introduction of ordinance 0-23-112. Ordinance of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, adopting amendments to the Blackwood West redevelopment plan as adopted under ordinance number 021-12 in accordance with NJSA 48-12A-1 et sec, local redevelopment and housing law. This permits a permitted use of an adult daycare facility and multifamily dwelling located in the Blackwood West redevelopment zone. This The entity came before a redevelopment meeting, I believe, back in September. And they moving forward with the process of including that within the redevelopment of Black West. I entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second on the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes.
Ms. Grace.
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel.
Yes.
Mrs. Walters.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mr. Mignani.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes. Next is our consent agenda. Any council member that would like to have any item removed, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Ms. Grace.
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel.
Yes.
Mrs. Walters. Yes. Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mr. Mignani.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes, we have two GTE Gov access emails. One is from Brandy Medic at 7 Y Mill Drive, Sicklerville, New Jersey. Question for council: can we extend the hours of family open gym night at the rec center? 1 day per week, 5 to 6, is not conducive for working families. I do not want to pay money to go to a gym since I'm already paying an astronomical amount in taxes. I shouldn't have to go outside of township facilities when we have them in our backyard. I want to support the township, but finding it more and more difficult. Bill Fagan, one of our recreation supervisors, did speak to Ms. Mendek, and there are different groups that use the rec center: Gloucester Township Boys Basketball, Gloucester Township Hockey Association, youth soccer, youth cheer. They use the rec center during the winter months. They have increased open gym hours significantly in the past few years. And he offered to take a look at the schedule, add some more time for family open gyms if we have it, and then he'll contact her again to let her know of his progress. Thank Mr. Fagan for reaching out to her. Our next GTE Gov access email is from Peter Heimball, Morningstar Court, Sicklerville, New Jersey. It was difficult to hear and to comprehend, but at the previous council meeting, when asked about the status of the GTNUA dissolution and merger, Mr. Cardis uttered something about waiting for approval from the Social Security Administration, and that this delay was impeding GT's ability to begin to recognize the taxpayer savings that were promised by executing this merger. However, it seems that Gloucester Township was able to grab millions of dollars from the GTNUA funds reserved for renewal and placement to fill the gaps in the 2023 budget. Please give a comprehensible and honest update on the status of the GTNUA merger and of the savings realized from this merger. Mr. Cardis, can you respond to this, and Mr. Heimball can comprehend if he's watching?
Yeah, again, I did not utter, but I will be very clear about it. The first step was to go before the local finance board, and based on our application and our presentation of the finances at the was the authority, and the final outcome, which was that they allowed us to dissolve the authority and create a utility. Part of that is to combine their pension system with our pension system. The state of New Jersey is not permitted to combine those pension systems until the Social Security Administration recognizes the dissolution of the GTNUA and the creation of the sewer utility. That has not happened yet, and I'm told that could take from bond counsel and from our financial advisors who have been involved in similar circumstances, that could take as long as a year and a half to 2 years. So that's one thing we're waiting for. We do continue to look at ways to save money. We're looking at the professional appointments. There are various things on a daily basis that we're looking at. We do not have a detailed plan outline of where all the savings are, but again, we continue to work.
Thank you, Mr. Cardis. Well, we'll now go to our second public portion. This is for any item that the public wishes to discuss. Each speaker is entitled to 5 minutes. There's 30 minutes for the second public portion. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro from the historic village of Ariel. Question, if I may, Mr. Hutchison, would this be your last meeting tonight? Okay. Okay, we'll save the accolades for later.
I'll let you know.
Be great. My first comment is actually from my wife. We forgot to get the eGov question in. On her way home from work, somewhere around 6:15 p.m., she turns coming off 42, goes up early in the Brooklyn Road, came past Highland High School. And one of the students which stayed late for extracurricular activities or sports, she witnessed crossing in the crosswalk directly coming out of the school. And he had to hightail it because it was a car coming by. She found that area to be extremely dark and surprisingly dark at a school. Is that something maybe we can get Public Works and Black Horse Pike, which I believe a good connections there with Mr. Bucciaroni, to be able to expedite that, see, have a look at it, because she felt that it endangered the students that are there late with the sun going down earlier and earlier, that may create a problem, just looking out for the kids on her way home.
I'll reach out to both entities. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Okay, and my item, following up on Mr. Heinball's, he stole a lot of my thunder. With the amount of money that was procured through the dissolution and merger of the MUA, and I don't mean to be sarcastic, but it's going to sound really sarcastic. Other than the Harlem Globetrotters dribble answer that you gave with what's saved. Now, it seems that you got about $3.3 million of half or half of the what you call a surplus, and which is referred to as is it recovery and renewal placement, renewal and replacement account, and that was intact in case there was a catastrophic or major event that involved the MUA, which basically is gone, and you now said we're going to spend that money, we'll just borrow it later, which is what you do a lot of. So with that being said, you know how much money you procured from that with 1.5 this year, another 1.5 next year. So that's money in. You mean that you can't even estimate any dollar amount savings from those that are not getting a paycheck through the MUA or things that have been consolidated? You don't have any idea, or council for that matter, has no idea any dollars that are saved through this acquisition?
So what you refer to as this emergency money is really surplus. And there was in excess of $6 million in surplus on a budget which was essentially a $5.1 million budget. That's an extraordinary amount of surplus to have.
Well, that's what you refer to it as. They refer, yeah, but you refer to it as surplus, and it's renewal and replacement.
Mr. Polidoro, can you, if you want a response?
But he's using
You want
poor
a response?
verbiage.
You want
Sure,
a
go ahead.
response?
Go ahead.
And let him, don't step over, thanks.
So the local finance board, as you're probably aware, I think you were on the call, were you on call?
No, I have better things to
Well,
do.
that might have been Mr. Hyman, so you might ask him, because he was on the call. There were different people that were on the call other than us. And out of that 6.5, which is really unprecedented, the local finance board said that you can, in fact, use up to $3 million of that surplus to put into the general fund of Gloucester Township. We did not do that. We put 1.5 million in last year's budget. So we did not go as far as what the local finance board said we could do. In most cases, the local finance board will say, you cannot touch any of that fund. That's not what they did in this case.
What I'm saying while my time is running down is the MUA labeled that renewal and replacement account. You keep calling it a surplus. And the fact that they were able to keep that money aside, something you can't do in the township, okay? Because our surplus disappears from year to year. Sometimes you carry over. But that had a purpose. And now that purpose has now been dissolved in 2 years. And yet there's still nothing, you can't show anything in savings.
So you feel that the MUA, or the township for that matter, should be the bank for all the residents of the township. We should keep their money. and
You
hold-
took their money
hold
when you
that
took
money
them
in
over.
surplus, right? Is that what you're saying? That 6 million should have sat there? Is that
Tom,
what you should've done?
the only thing I can say is that you got the money that they had
I
saved.
find it problematic that money's sitting.
They did a good job. That's good accounting.
No more.
Now it sits in your left-hand drawer.
Why didn't they give that back to
Thank
the
you,
tax?
Mr. Polidoro. Thank
I
you,
may
Ms. Carnes.
continue this.
Is there anyone else? Ms. Smithman, followed by Mr. Sweet. Ms. Hudson, you?
Good evening, council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court. But it's considered the lower side of the apartment complex, Clementon, New Jersey. 08021 -5536, also written 08021 -5673. It actually changed while I was living in the apartment complex. The last 4-digit code after the zip from the United States Postal Service changed. They said that all letters will still get to my apartment, even though when it was written 08021 -5673, letters were being returned stating that that building was abandoned. I assure you it is not. Rent is paid through South Jersey Behavioral Health Resources since they receive benefits on my behalf. I'm told I'm not permitted to pay my own rent, and the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex assures that the rent is paid. And that any late notices were printed in error. All right, that's where I reside in Gloucester Township since February 2015. Good evening, council.
Good evening again.
The northbound side of Kelly Driver Road, identified as Kelly Driver Lane on the New Jersey Transit bus schedule. About halfway down the road, like right after the first, there's like one turn in that road. It is going to be replaced soon, like one of the ordinances read that they're working on those storm drains. It still might be a good idea to unclog it.
Okay.
May I ask, what were the meetings held in Gloucester Township for November 2023?
What were the meetings?
Yeah, the days of the meetings, days and evenings of any meetings held in Gloucester Township?
Evening meetings, like.
Any meetings.
Like planning board and zoning board?
Mhm.
I know that council meets on the 2nd and.
No, not when they meet, what meetings actually occurred. Were there any additional meetings other than the regularly scheduled meetings?
Does anyone know when the planning, Miss Albert, what's the planning board? Is that the second Tuesday of the month?
We'll
meet tomorrow
night.
No.
Miss.
Beginning in November, were there any additional meetings? Well, how about this? For the council meetings, President Mercado, you're the president. Can you please tell me any meetings that were held in Gloucester Township for the council in November 2023, beginning November 1st, today, till the day's date, which is November 27th, 2023?
There were 2 meetings that took place. No, make it 3. We had a workshop at 6:30 on the second Tuesday of the month. So today's the 27th, it was the 13th of November at 6:30. And then we had a regular meeting at 7:30. And then today we had a council meeting at 7:30. So 3 meetings took place in 2 days, November 13th and November 27th.
Okay, so there was no additional meetings.
No additional meetings.
Let's see if I can get this out. I wanted to, there's been a lot of things that I've been trying to unsort. It ranges anywhere from the state of New Jersey through the local township. Growing up, I remember in Williamstown, New Jersey, I've also met other residents. If you were drinking and driving, one of the most standard answers was from the local police in a situation when they would get pulled over. The most standard answer was, no, you go right home. That is what they were told. And it, they made it. Then the person that got injured sued the local town police department because they said that had they wrote the ticket and stopped them from driving, that they could have prevented the injury, the death.
Ms. Smith,
Well-
your time is up. I imagine you're gonna come back up again
Well, am I permitted to speak on the same issue?
on this, if you're adding to it. Yeah, you can speak a second time.
Thank you,
Mr.
council.
Sweet?
Evening, Council. Sam Sweet from Ariel again. You guys had, on the capital budget last year and this year, allotted for an indoor facility at Ariel Little League. Where are we on that?
So I had a conversation today with Mr. Cardis regarding the bids that came in. They were extremely high, is that right, Mr. Cardis? So it is most likely that it is going to be rejected as bid, and we'll reach out to our engineer again, and we're going to re-advertise.
We are. We're gonna change the specifications.
Yeah, they were exorbitant.
The minimum bid was, I believe, 302,000. The next, there weren't two bids, the next lowest was 505,000.
Could we get those bids forwarded to our board?
I'm sure the clerk's office has those.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Going back to last week, or the last council meeting, ordinance 297, budget transfers and appropriations. It looks like you're moving money from one area to the other area to cover expenses, shortfalls, or over budgeting. With the employee group health insurance, you're taking $504,835 away from that and allocating it to different items. My question is, didn't we borrow $4 million back in the middle of the year to account for overages on the employee health insurance, and now we're taking 500,000 of that and moving it elsewhere?
I believe the timing of that was last year, around this time, late November, early December. Is that correct, Mr. Cardis? But I haven't seen all the agenda I was looking at.
And that was based on catastrophic losses during that fiscal year. That was also reviewed by the local finance board. The local finance board approved the $4 million, and they approved the financing of that over a 7-year period.
Understood, but we got the 4 million, I believe.
What happens in subsequent years has no bearing on what happened in that particular year. They are financing, they're allowing you to do an emergency appropriation in that particular year. So we're self-funded. What happens in subsequent years has no bearing on what happened in that.
But when didn't we receive the money, the 4 million in this year, 2023?
I don't recall when exactly the money came in.
All right, so essentially we over budgeted employee group health insurance by 500,000. Is that because we were able to move it, correct?
I would not say that. We're self-funded, so we could have had a very good year. We might still be having. I had not checked that. Had you emailed me, I could have checked that for you and told you where we are.
So you're saying that last year we had catastrophic claims and this year we're not, and we're over by 500,000 by being self-funded. Were rates increased for the employees of Gloucester Township?
You started out by saying over budgeting, but obviously a transfer resolution has overages and under budgeting because you're transferring money from and to. So if you're transferring money to, there wasn't enough money in that particular line. And you're talking about less than 2%, I believe it's about 1.2% of a $75 million budget. There are two transfers now. One is in November and the final one will be at the end of December. By law, we have to balance the budget each year, as you probably know.
No, I understand that. I was just asking that 500,000 is coming out of the employee group health insurance and going elsewhere.
At this point, she could very well, the CFO, Mr. Eric, could very well come back and say, we need to transfer money back in December.
So Tom, basically it's like snow. You don't have any snowstorms. Yeah,
You
you
don't.
don't budget a certain amount. If there's no snow, you over budgeted according to Sam.
And you are self-funded on your health insurance. You do not know what's going to happen.
You get it, Tim?
I get it, but what I don't understand is why we're moving it in November, and then a month later, we're going to move it. We could move it back in. Like if you told me this was March, we're moving it, and then we're moving it back in December, I could comprehend that better. By moving it a month later, why are we moving it a month, especially when we had catastrophic claims in 22, and now 23, we don't have those catastrophic claims? Is that my understanding?
would say yes. We did not have the catastrophic year that we had when we went up before the local finance board and applied for an emergency provision. That's correct. Thank you.
Okay, and well, one last thing, I'd just like to congratulate you all on your victory. That's it.
Hold on. Mr. Polidoro?
Ray Polidoro again from Ariel, just to complete the conversation we're having. So, in the transition of dissolving the MUA and procuring the funds that were there, my understanding is that consultants and lawyers were involved in that, and they were paid their fees and services. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so with that, so the money comes over, and again, what the MUA defined it as was renewal and replacement, not surplus. You referred to it as surplus as it came over. But do you happen to know, did you do any research before you procured those funds as to what the status was and the length of time that it took the MUA to accumulate those funds for that renewal and replacement account? Do you know how long a period of time the MUA worked to put that money aside?
I do not. I did not look at that. Whether or not the local finance board looked at that, you'd have to ask them.
Well, it was the township that was looking to make this move. The local finance board is an entity outside. Would they have been involved?
When we made our presentation to the local finance board, there was in excess of $6 million of surplus.
But did anyone?
Call what you want to call it. I call it surplus.
Well, you're an accountant. That's what you would call it, right? So in that, would it surprise you to know that probably over 30 years of putting that money aside, the MUA did extraordinary budgeting in being able to do that? Would it surprise you that it was a 30-year period?
I don't find it relevant.
Well, I do, because
Well, I think you do, but I don't.
what took them 30 years to put aside in very good budgeting, you managed to make disappear, or will make it disappear in less than 2 years.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
We have a global services agreement, right? With the MUA.
You're gonna need that microphone a little closer.
Yeah, that's a separate agreement.
It has nothing to do
It
with.
has nothing to do with sewage. Yeah, that is for your recycling, your grass, your compost facility. It has nothing to do. And that's going to now, that is a department within the general fund, within our budget, just like the public works department is.
Just real brief, I know I'm taking the time.
I can pause it, huh?
Please, the vehicles, I'm sorry, I'm just curious. I'm not reading. The equipment and the trucks and whatever the MUA would use. How do they acquire those vehicles?
Are we talking about the global side or are we talking about the sewage side? Sewage side would come from,
They finance their
they
own?
would finance, yes.
Okay.
And they would probably go through the IBAN.
So,
We're starting,
Did you have a question for me?
I'm fine.
I stopped it.
Okay, no, it's just, but like I said, that was a lot of hard work, and, you know, I criticize your accounting over the years, because some years you're good and some years you're terrible.
I'm
And,
always criticizing.
you know, it's just the way
I
it
don't
is.
know I don't know what you're saying. What you're purporting is accurate. I don't see any information that's been provided that shows 30 years of accumulated service.
Well, I asked you if you would be surprised to know that. And again,
I don't really care how it got there. The bottom line is, at the point in time where we went for the applications of the local finance board, they saw 6 million plus of surplus sitting there on a $5.1 million budget. And I'm telling you, it's unprecedented, from what I understand, for them to say that you can use their surplus in your general fund budget, but they did.
you should have absolutely been interested in how long it took them to put those funds aside, because that's good accounting. What they did, their budget was good, and they had that money. And they had that money set aside for a purpose in case there would be an event that was needed, and that those funds were needed so that the MUA would not have to borrow or bond unless it was, super catastrophic.
And the MUA does bond, and they have bonded.
But you took that money, and let me finish.
They took money from their surplus to offset their bond. They borrowed money, and that's why they have debt outstanding now. So you check that out, and you can check and see how many years that was.
Is any of that money that you procured going to take care of that debt? You're taking their money, but you're not taking care of their debt?
No, it will not. It will not,
Wow,
because their
that's a
debt
sweet
is
deal.
paid, but does not have a call option. It's paid over a period of time. It's permanently funded.
It seems that they did a nice job and they're now
I
dissolved.
know that in the
And-
third year analysis.
Well, it just seems like your left desk drawer just keeps getting more and more full, and the MUA did a nice job. My time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak that has not spoken yet? Ms. Smithman, and then Mr. Sweet. Ms. Smithman, before you start, you do not have to provide your address. Last time you spoke, it took a minute for you to provide the address. You do not have to provide it. We know where you live, and it's on the record, okay?
Good evening, council. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I live in the SDK Millbridge Gardens apartment complex on Millbrook Court. The first public portion, how many minutes is that supposed to be?
15,
How much was this?
30 minutes.
No, for the first public portion, how many minutes do we actually have?
3 minutes for each speaker, 15 minutes total.
Is that what it totaled?
Excuse me?
Is that what it totaled?
That's when it's what?
Is that what it totaled?
Total, 15 minutes total.
I know what it's supposed to be. Is that what it actually was?
I had the time period, at 7:34 we started, okay? And there were the speakers that spoke, the speaker that spoke twice, okay? There was no other hands for that portion. So
Oh, no, my hand was up.
you can only speak twice during each portion.
All right, thank you for making me aware of that. I did not know that. I know that you had already approved the agenda, but for resolution 23317? No, yeah, 317? You approved that you don't have to advertise now if you're going to sell someone's home? That was gonna be my question, but,
So this is for our accelerated tax sale.
right, but it says that you can provide 2 mailings instead of actually advertising. I don't typically read the newspaper, but there are many people that highly depend on newspaper advertisements for things that have to do with local government.
Ms. Smith and Mr. Marks gonna explain that. No?
I'm just asking if it's been approved.
So
I would appreciate it if you pause it, can you?
No, you asked the question, he's gonna respond.
I'm gonna respond to
If
it.
you just wanna talk for 5 minutes. we
No,
can do
I
that.
wanted to know, I mean, do you have proof that they receive it? Since I've lived in this township since 2015 and I can't get my address straight.
You want to understand what the resolution is about?
You're saying that you can sell somebody's home
By
for,
statute, we are required to put in the paper, to advertise 4 times for the tax sale. What this resolution allows us to do is advertise 2 times and then do 2 direct mailers. Those 2 direct mailers help us to maximize the amount that we're going to receive in the tax sale. It's better for us than it is to put it in paper, as you just indicated, because you don't read the paper. And so do a lot of people.
I have on occasion, you did answer the question. Thank you, Mr. Cordes. But do you get a receipt that it was received? Is it set certified, those 2 mailings?
I believe it is, I'd have to go back.
We can provide that answer to you.
Well, you already approved it. I've
We
never
can
owned
provide
any
the answer
property
to you
ever,
next
so.
meeting if you like.
Do the 2 mailings, does that include, is that electronic? Because resolution 2311316, that you were approving
Because it physically,
and so resolution 316 that has already been approved also, that's different?
Is the electronic sale.
It's an online auction. So before people, when they had tax sales, people used to be in here and they would bid on it. This is an online auction for those liens.
So after you send 2 mailings and advertise twice, you can then use online services? I don't know how to use it yet, but I did upgrade the technology on my cellular phone.
Okay?
I don't know how to properly turn it off, so I removed the SIM card for the meeting. I don't know what else to do. It doesn't even have an off button. It's really difficult. If it was concave, I could just put coffee in it, and drink out of it, because I'd get more use from it. But instead, I will try to learn how to use it, but I still am very far away from ever being able to participate in owning anything in Gloucester Township ever, if you're already removing the steadfast things that you had, which was to advertise solely in the newspaper. And you can sell these properties electronically. I'm telling you, that you're missing out on a good portion of your community is being left out if they haven't been already.
What's our collection rate?
99.98, I believe.
So do you know what that means?
Sounds like 0.2%. You don't care about. Good day, council.
Oh, all right, thank you. Mr. Sweet? Mr. Sweet will be our last speaker.
Good evening, council. Sam Sweet from Ariel. Again, I did mean that. Congratulations, Mr. Hutchinson, Mr. Mercado, Mr. Mignon, anybody else who won the election. I know what it takes to win the election. Which brings me to my point of, we got 9 million flyers. Some of them were humorous, some of them were cute. But the one that stuck with me was the one that came from your team, Orlando. Said, don't lose your vote. Your vote is your voice. And I'll be honest, I didn't vote for you guys. I never said that. I never said that. Okay. When it came down to it, I did not vote for you guys. And the reason was because of that flyer, that your vote is your voice. While that's true, we live in a country that says free speech. And part of that free speech is we're allowed to question our counsel. And I feel, and I know a bunch of other people feel, that we can't question counsel because we're either attacked, we're ridiculed, we're questioned on some of our facts, and we're blown off, essentially. So while I didn't vote for you, you still are my representative, and you still need to represent me. And I think you guys are missing that along the lines because of whether it be animosity, just the sheer arrogance of how dare we stand up to you. Last week, I should not have to sit here, look at the agenda and come up with questions on, as Mr. Hutchinson would say, gotcha moments. He's used that term throughout your term. All right. And they're not gotcha moments. They're questions that I have on the way things are run in the township, where my tax dollars are going. And you guys don't seem to care about that at times. And when we bring that up to you, then you were made to feel this small. Ms. Henry last week asked about the school board. You said that the school board is not politically driven, was not politically backed. But yet we've had conversations where you've told me point blank, well, that's the way it is. Look at the other townships. And I've said just because the other townships do it that way doesn't mean that we want it done this way in this township. Mr. Cardis was out handing out flyers backing the team that was being backed by the Democratic committee. And I'm not saying that you can't.
Time is my time.
I'm not saying that you can't. And again, this is what my point, this is my point exactly. All right. He can do what he wants on his time, but to sit there and say that it's not politically backed by the Democratic committee to Ms. Henry, what you tell me that that's just the way it is, that's why we feel the way we feel. And I think somewhere along the lines, you guys stopped caring about the township and stopped caring about the people. And just, you guys do a wonderful job with Gloucester Township Day. You do a wonderful job with the tree lighting ceremony. You do a wonderful job with the appearance of caring about the township. But people who stood up here and cried, I've lived here for 30 years. I can't afford the taxes anymore. Can we lower taxes? People have stood here and said that they have problems with public works, nothing, and they come back up. People have stood here and these problems are not being solved, but yet we're keeping up the appearance that you're doing a wonderful job. For the most part, yes, this township is a good place to live in, but our taxes are out of control. And when people come up to you to talk, you really should give us the respect that you guys want us to give you, because you are our elected officials, and whether I like it or not, you are my elected official. And I just think that we deserve a little more respect than what we've been getting, and I wish that in the coming years that we get that. We're not up here to attack you. We're up here to ask questions and questioning the way things are run. That's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Does anyone want to?
Oh, I love that.
I like this.
Oh, your time is up. Oh, well, you got 7 seconds, but it's up.
I'll wait till the end.
Mine is really short. I just want to say that, you come here and most of, you feel like none of your answers or questions are answered. But I just want to share that sometimes we get emails in from residents in the community and you don't even know that we're serving other people in the community with their needs. I've gotten several emails about trick or treat or candy. I've delivered candy to schools, and we have family members who have been hungry. We do other things. We just don't bring it here and you don't hear it. But there's other residents in the township that are served just through their email. So, I mean, a lot of your questions come here, they're hard, and I appreciate you coming here and speaking up, and Orlando does a wonderful job trying to answer the questions. But again, like we say, sometimes you don't like the answers. But I just want to share that the emails that come in through here are not always, there's plenty of emails that we do answer as council, and we do resolve issues within the community. And there's lots of people in the community that thank us for what we do.
And thank you. Oh, you can stand there if you like. Your time's up.
I just didn't.
Your time's up, sir. Your time is up. Your time is up. You had your.
That's my point, Orlando. That is my point right there.
Thank you.
Okay? She can say what she wants to say, and I did not say that. I never said that you're not handing out the community. I'm saying that when we come
You
up
came
here.
in today's meeting coming in hot. You
I
came
didn't
in
come
hot.
I didn't
Sam, you
come
came in
I
hot.
came in with legitimate questions.
You came in hot, Sam.
I came in
We haven't
with
seen you in
legitimate
months.
questions that
Good to see
Mr.
you.
Cardis was not
Good to see
prepared
you.
to answer
Hold on.
on the agenda item.
Sam, you came in. It's good to see you. You came in hot.
Didn't come in hot.
Yeah, you
Did not
Yeah,
come in
yes,
hot.
you did. Okay.
Okay, again, that's your interpretation.
But here's the thing.
Mr. Cardis should know when the playground grant was
Thank you,
filed.
Mr.
He should know that because it's on the agenda. He should come in prepared.
Hey, Tom,
All right.
Tom, look at-
Mr. Hutchinson, well, no,
I'm
go ahead,
gonna,
director.
I'm gonna, yeah.
Go ahead, director.
Mr. Groveland,
Nothing to report.
Mr.
I
Curtis.
just want to congratulate all council members who were successful in this recent election.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
You're welcome.
Chief Harkins.
Just want to remind everybody, we're starting our Stuff the Truck event. You can see the toys that are accumulating as part of the mayor's toy drive. We'll be collecting, let all the residents know they can drop off a toy at any time to the watch desk when an officer's working. We'll fill the car up out front. It's illuminated out front, and all those toys up until December 14th will be transferred over as part of the mayor's annual toy drive, which is a great event. And I also just want to thank all the residents. We get overwhelmed every Thanksgiving. The officers that have to work, the dispatchers that are here working on Thanksgiving all through the day. Special thanks to the Meadows Diner, who always, for as long as I've been an officer, has brought in a full turkey dinner meal for our officers, and many, many residents who have dropped off good things to eat for the officers to help liven that day. And we truly appreciate it. All the officers appreciate it for the holidays. So thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. McGill?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Mr. Hutchison?
So I was disappointed that not everybody stayed for our opportunity to speak. Seems that some people want to have their voice heard or want to participate up until this moment when council gets to say their piece. Sam, you bring up an issue that I struggle with. You do. One of, how should I respond to people who come up to that microphone? There are people here, Keith sits there with his daughter and doesn't really say very much at these council meetings, but I know he thinks a lot about them, okay? But then you have other people who come up here and all they do is attack. They attack Tom, they attack Orlando, pretty much council as a whole. They insinuate certain things and they just downright talk down to us. What do you expect? Am I paid? Am I asked by the voters in this town to sit up here and take punches constantly? I disagree. Sam, I'm not that person. I'm gonna hit you back. Okay? If you come up here and you attack one of the people up here on council and you make remarks that show that you haven't done your due diligence and you're gonna insinuate that we're the bad guys up here, well, guess what? We're gonna come back at you, okay? You know, well, we've crossed that bridge many a time, Sam, and this is not an opportunity for you to give back, okay? Now, at other times, you have other people who come up. Ray came up here, he had a valid point. He approached council. He said, hey, you know, Donna thinks that something needs to be done at this intersection. Can you please look into it? What did Orlando do? Orlando said, yes, I'm gonna look into it. This is not your time, Ms. Smithman. You raise your hand constantly. This is not your time. So I'm not gonna defer to you, okay? Thank you.
I just didn't know if you get time.
So this is the thing, okay? If you're gonna come up here and you're gonna treat us with respect, I promise you, you're gonna get respect back. But if you come up here and you're gonna agitate everybody, you're gonna pick at Tom, you're gonna pick at everybody else on this council, you're gonna get it back, okay? So thank you very much.
Mrs. Grace?
I just want to add that, and from a social worker on council, I watch not just all of our council members. They care about the community. They go out into the community. I know there was times where I was just dealing a lot with my mother and I couldn't make some of the events. They are out there all the time, serving the food. The mayor's out there. They're not just doing that, they're listening to what people have to say and what people need. So it's not just about, okay, we're going out for elections. I watched council and the mayor come into Brittany Woods doing one of the events they had recently, and the resident that hosted the event had some concerns about a project that was done, and they walked in her home to see what those issues were and are trying to address those issues. So it's not that you just don't know everything that each council member is doing for the community. And that breaks my heart a little bit when you come up here and say they don't do anything or we haven't done anything. When I see Helen's at every single event that is posted, she's always going out there. I'm there. She's always, and sometimes I can't make every event, Saturdays and Sundays. But I didn't see any of you guys there at some of the events that we were serving food and walking around and listening to what residents need. You're not there just to do that. You're listening to what they need. So I disagree that we're not doing anything for the community. We do work hard for the community, and I know, again, you come here with different questions. but our community is being served in many different ways. Not just one way. It's not just always financial. It's sometimes about what the residents need. And I know you're shaking your head and you don't agree, but I watch each of these council members with their hearts out serving our community on foot, walking, talking, and visiting residents and listening to what the concerns and addressing them. And I see Orlando taking you, every time there's something that needs to be addressed, he writes it down, he refers to who needs that question answered, and he tries to get it back to you. So I get a little confused, and I don't really speak a lot out loud, but I get confused when you're so hard on the people here that actually really work hard to serve all of the residents of Gloucester Township. And again, I've gotten many emails, but they don't come and they're not read here. And those questions get answered, those things get answered as far as support, help, needs, wants, or where to go, whether they need family resource center, whether they need to know where the parks are, whatever they need. Small business questions, Black-owned minority businesses that are in town, where can I find grants? We answer those questions. We're not just sitting around as if we don't do anything. When we come here, we answer your questions, but other people in the community that live here get their questions answered and support too. So I disagree that we're not helping the community. I totally disagree with it, but I want to wish everyone a safe night, and I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and stay warm tonight. It's really cold.
Mrs. Aubrey Troxel?
Yeah, to add to what you've just said, many people up here were serving the turkey dinner at Highland High School on Thanksgiving, or I think it was a few days before. I served one at my church on Thanksgiving. Anyway, they're out and about all the time, and they're doing things not just legislatively. They're doing things because they care about the community, and they care about not just the little section they live in. They care about all the people in the township. They care about the people who have needs, who are going hungry, all different avenues, schools. Students will come to me and say, I need help with something. What's the problem? We listen. We do the best we can with helping people. We can only do the best we can. Sometimes we're very successful. Sometimes we have to tell them the truth that we can't help them because of a certain reason. But I would rather be honest with somebody than to try and lead them down a path of just leading them on for an answer. So I think everybody up here has that same mindset. And I think it's really important that when you come for your questions, that you don't call names or say, yeah, that's right. I've never been to council meetings like this before where I've heard such animosity. And I'm just surprised at it. I'm disappointed in it. But there's nothing I can do about it. The individuals have to change their hearts, not us. We're doing the best we can. And we're leading with our hearts and our minds, excuse me. And we all pay taxes in this town. And trust me, we all care about the taxes. And we're doing the best we can with the money that we have. But you look at your own household. Has your electric bill gone up? Has your gas bill gone up? Has your food bill gone up? Everything's going up. Ever since COVID, everything has just gone out of proportion. We're trying to do the best we can with the budget to make sure that everything stays in this town, because we give a lot of services to this town, and they're excellent services, from our police to our parks to everything. So you get what you pay for, and we're trying to do the best we can with the money that we have. And I wish you all a good night and stay warm.
Mrs. Walters?
I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. I just want to thank everybody for doing what they do. I'm new to the council for the past 6 months. And in this time, I've learned about people. I've seen the good, I've seen the bad. I'm out there for the people. I am part of the community. I pay taxes just like you do. I want good things for this community. I want to be part of it. I want to be a voice. That's why I'm here. I will take the good, I'll take the bad. Whatever people suggest, I will bring it to everybody. If somebody's needs something, they call me, if I don't know the answer, I will reach out to whoever. I'll reach out to Orlando to see who I need to get that problem fixed. Okay, I'm willing. It could be a Saturday night, it could be a Sunday morning, it doesn't matter. I'm available. Even though I have a family, I make time for this as well. So I just wanna thank everybody. It's been a nice, 6 months that I've been here. And I wanna continue to do for the community. People appreciate, I know there's more out there, to do, and I've seen it. I've seen people that do need help, especially working in the school district. I see families. I've been able to go to their house and give them the Thanksgiving dinner that they would not be able to provide for their family because of health conditions. So it was fortunate for me to be able to give back in that way. So I appreciate everybody who helped out. I appreciate everybody coming to council meetings to voice their opinions and even outside to let us know what they would like to see, good or bad. So everybody have a good night.
Mrs. Winters?
I just want to thank everyone for coming out, thank you for the comments. I agree with everything my council members have shared. We're here and we're doing our jobs. Have a good night.
Mr. Minio?
Well, here we are in the holiday season, seems like it in this room, right? Holiday season, a lot of joy. What I want to mention is, the last 2 months, I've heard about freedom of speech and the First Amendment, okay? I've never heard it so much in my life in the last 2 months, but let's remember one thing, it goes both ways. And if you want respect, people to talk to respectful, then let's speak respectful to people everywhere. Thank you, have a great night and great week.
Before you adjourn, I don't.
No, Ms. Smithman.
No, I don't want to be
Ms.
spoken to
Smithman,
after the
Ms.
meeting.
Smithman,
No,
please sit down.
I don't want to be
Ms.
spoken to
Smithman.
after the meeting
Ms.
for any
Smithman,
of the.
can you please sit down?
Can't speak now.
Ms. Smithman, please sit down. Please sit down.
There is nothing
Please
official
sit
being
down,
done
Ms.
after this
Smithman.
meeting. I just
Ms.
wanted to make sure
Smithman,
that that's
please
fine.
sit
You cannot
down.
speak now.
Mr. Mercado?
My mother told me on Thanksgiving to behave myself at these meetings. She did. She pulled me aside, you need to behave yourself. I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening, and Sam, it was good to see you, seriously. You've been away for a while, and I told you when you were here, you came in a little hot, and I wasn't gonna come back hot at you. There's some people that did respond to you that way. There's been things over the last 6 months here that have been said in council chambers, and sometimes they've been said and someone's responded to it, and a lot of the times it's been ignored. Mr. Cars, you've been told that you suck at your job. We've been told that we kick somebody in their nuts. Some lady says that she has a secret meeting of alleged taping. I keep telling her to provide that taping. It's been over a year and she hasn't provided that yet, of a secret meeting that took place. Someone questioned me about fulfilling my responsibilities as council president, and I said, my record speaks for itself. And apparently the voters of Gloucester Township said yes to Mercado and agreed. It is, if someone's coming in here and they're gonna ask the question, we'll try to provide an answer for them as best as we can. If someone's gonna come to the mic and not adhere to the rules that we have set forth, then I have to gavel. I don't wanna gavel you, Ms. Smithman. I don't wanna cut people off. I want people to have a question. If you have a question, we can try to give you a response. I don't like when members here step over people who are speaking at the microphone. Let them finish their thoughts. So, I do appreciate your comments, Sam, and again, it was once again nice seeing you. We have a Christmas tree lighting, the parade, the Blackwood Christmas Parade, the Charlie Miller Christmas Parade is taking place this Saturday at 6 o'clock downtown Blackwood. And they'll be leaving from Sam's parking lot and coming up, correct? Still Sam's?
Yes.
Coming up and ending up at Church Street, that's at 6 o'clock. And then the Christmas Village is taking place here from 3 to 9 on December 9th, with the tree lighting taking place, I believe, at 6:30 here in Veterans Park. So if you have an opportunity to attend those events, please do so. I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a great meeting, everyone.
Yeah.
Good, how are you? Good. See you tomorrow night. Oh, that's right.